Welcome back to a quick tasting with Old Fitzgerald Bottled and Bond. Now this is the Spring 2020 edition. This was given to me by the distillery at no cost to me. This is a sample straight from the distillery. So I would still like to buy a bottle and compare it to this one to see how it goes. So this tasting is based on a product provided to me. Now, if you want to learn more about whiskey, if you want to get honest reviews, click that subscribe button and hit the like button while you're at it. We're trying to grow this community, and we've got a member-only community where we have a lot of fun. But feel free to join that if you like. But this is all about bourbon education and sipping a little bit with celebrities from time to time. Some great celebrities on the way, and I've interviewed some nice ones in the past. So this is the Old Fitzgerald Spring Edition Bottled and Bond. It's 9 years old. It was distilled in the spring of 2011 and bottled in the spring of 2020. So why am I tasting it now for a formal review in the middle of summer in 2020? Well, when COVID hit, this was a product that had its release delayed slightly. It was delayed a couple months, although some bottles ended up getting into the market. It was at the very beginning of COVID, and they started pulling back the distribution on this. So this is one of the bottles that was slow in basically getting out to the market due to COVID. So this is starting to trickle out a little bit. It is a wheated bourbon, which means it uses wheat as its secondary grain. It's made at the Heaven Hill Distillery, and usually it's a pretty good release. Now, I've tasted this a couple times in some live streams and some members' live streams, and it's typically a pretty good release. I've had a couple that were duds, but usually Heaven Hill does a good job, and their wheated recipe is usually pretty daggum fantastic. So on the nose, we get a little bit of peanut butter. We get some other type of roasted nuts, some caramels, and I want to say like a cotton candy machine. They're making cotton candy like at the fair. And when you're a kid, you love that smell, but as an adult and you have kids, you're like, oh my God, I hope my kid doesn't see the cotton candy machine, because I do not want cotton candy sticky hands all up in here. This is quite lovely. There are some chocolate notes here. There's some caramel, some Fig Newton. I'm getting a lot of like nougat kind of notes, like an almond, like a chocolate covered almond, or some cherry. But I keep going back to that fair candy, the cotton candy. There's like a nice cotton candy note here. I will say that I want this finish to be a little longer. The finish is pretty short in comparison to the flavor profile. So this is one, if you're a fan of like really long finishes, this may not be the whiskey for you, but there's a lot of good flavor going on here. There's just a touch complexity that the flavor on the palate may outweigh the lack of a finish. It depends on what kind of taster you are and what you like. For me, I am dead set on a great finish. Like, I have to have a great finish in order for me to go crazy about a whiskey. So this one is a recommended whiskey if you're into complexity on the palate and you don't necessarily mind a shorter finish. If you're someone and if you need a long finish, then I would say, still taste this if you get a chance, but I don't think that it's going to wet that whistle. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining me. Hit that subscribe button if you get a chance, and come back for more honest reviews and a little bit of history, some celebrities to taste with. We have a good time here in this YouTube community, so I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me on this tasting. That'll do it, and I will see you next time. Cheers.